We're going to talk a little bit about castor oil.
Shh.
How many of y'all have used castor oil? Internally or externally?
Externally.
Externally. Who's used it internally? Bless your heart. Okay. That's not the use that we're going to talk about tonight. I actually think that there are better ways to accomplish what internal castor oil is used for. So we're not going to talk about that use of it tonight. I really appreciated Jeff's presentation on the plants, because one of the plants that he talked about was the burdock, is very liver cleansing, and that's one of the key features of castor oil in the castor oil pack that we're going to talk about tonight. It's very detoxifying to the liver. So the castor oil comes from the castor oil bean. The plant is the Ricinus communis, and it contains ricinoleic acid. It's a very sticky oil. I'm going to pass it around for those of you who haven't ever handled it or used it, so you can see. You can take a little and smear it on your eyelids or whatever, or smear it around on your hand. Just feel free to take a little bit and use it. It grows in tropical and subtropical areas. It's actually, we'll talk about it in just a minute, it's actually native to India. Some people say Africa, and it's commonly grown in Brazil as well. It is, of course, a strong laxative, as some of you know. And some of its uses may actually surprise you. If you look at the picture of the plant, it reminds me of an okra plant. I don't know if you guys up here probably have not grown okra,
Yes.
but you've tried to grow okra
Yeah,
here?
Pam and I have grown okra.
Okay, okay. It really reminds me of an okra plant, and if you can see in this one, the leaves have that beautiful rich color later on in the season. The beans remind me of a big fat tick. Look at that. I mean, it looks like a big fat tick. And then the unripe seed pods, the green ones that you see in the picture there, those remind me of the, it's a tree we have down south, sweet gum balls. And I make medicine out of those. That's what these green spiky seed pods look like to me. Castor oil contains vitamin E, excuse me. It's a triglyceride. Both of those components are what makes it so helpful for the skin. Very good for, soothing and smoothing the skin. It's very strongly anti-inflammatory, and it's because of the fact that it's good for the skin. It's anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, antifungal. Castor oil is something that would be really good to consider for wound care, which is something that we talked about in our last class about making salves. So I think after researching for this talk, I'm probably going to experiment a little bit with infusing some herbs into castor oil to make salves with, because castor oil is a fantastic carrier oil. If you put it on your skin and you mix like the burdock, you can mix different herbs with it and stuff. I could put castor oil on this pad right here and put a few drops of whatever kind of essential oil or tincture or whatever, and that castor oil is going to drive that herb into the body much deeper and much more readily than if you were just to put that on your skin. Okay, castor oil does contain a substance called ricin, which is very toxic, but processing pulls a lot of that out, and that's what this slide is about. We're going to talk about the type of castor oil that you want to look for a little bit later in the talk, but this slide brings out the cold press process. The first process of the castor oil is what you really want. It's kind of like the extra virgin cold pressed olive oil. That's exactly what you're looking for in a good quality castor oil. So the 90% of the total fatty acids in it are this ricinoleic acid, which is where a lot of the medicinal properties are in the castor oil. Castor oil reduces inflammation, and if you've known about cayenne and using cayenne or capsaicin for inflammation and topical usages, castor oil is just as effective as using capsaicin or cayenne topically, but without the burning effect. Okay, so it's very good to use topically. It relaxes smooth muscle, and here we're talking about like the GI tract, stomach, intestines. It also can relax the uterus, okay? And that's why a lot of ladies use it for cramping during their cycle. But we'll talk about this a little bit later in the talk. Castor oil has also been used to induce labor because of the stimulating effect that it has on the smooth muscle. So it acts as a prostaglandin, and a prostaglandin, these are hormone-like substances, so they behave similar to hormones, and this is part of why it helps to stimulate these uterine contractions. This is why also ladies that are pregnant should not use castor oil packs over their belly, because it could induce early labor. Okay, one of the research papers that I read said that castor oil helps to recycle glutathione, which is our master antioxidant. I didn't clearly understand what the mechanism of action was for that, but my thought is like doing a castor oil pack over the liver, because it's the liver that produces this antioxidant, that it probably is during the use of the castor oil pack over the liver that really helps with the glutathione. This is the link for the research paper that I read about how it's as effective as using capsaicin topically. More on how it works. Castor oil actually stimulates nitric oxide production, and nitric oxide is the big to-do now in the health world. It actually calms the nervous system and is anti-candida, the nitric oxide, and the castor oil, when you use it topically, helps to increase nitric oxide production. You can use, have anybody heard of oil pulling? Do you know what oil pulling is? Where most people use coconut oil. You put the oil in your mouth and you just keep it in there for like 15 or 20 minutes and just swish. It pulls a lot of bacteria out of your mouth. People who've had infections like periodontal disease have used this oil pulling and have had great benefits from it. So you can use the castor oil in the same way, but you don't have to use near as much, and you don't have to do it as long. I think it's only like 2 minutes. Yeah, 2 minutes instead of 20 minutes. So it doesn't take as much. Castor oil can help to balance the microbiome, and that again is because of its effect on the production of nitric oxide. And this is why I think that it would be good for wound care, and that is that castor oil, one of the studies that I read said that it increases leukocyte, which is one of our white blood cells. It increases the production of leukocytes. So another reason for using it, and I am going to start experimenting with using castor oil to make some of my wound salves, just because the oil, coconut oil has a lot of medicinal properties too. It's very antifungal, and so that's why I use coconut oil in some of my salves too. But I want to experiment with this. All right, here's some other uses of castor oil. A lot of ladies use castor oil to take their makeup off. Of course, that's not an issue for me. I don't wear this stuff anyway, but it actually does help to dissolve like eye makeup and stuff, and actually nourishes the skin at the same time. It helps to prevent acne, and it aids in reducing wrinkles and stretch marks. It's because of its moisturizing effect. One of the research things that I saw, you know how, especially ladies, sometimes will get these vertical lines on the upper lip. That can be a sign of estrogen deficiency. And castor oil helps to smooth that, and because it's also acts as a prostaglandin, it can help to balance the hormones. I don't think it's that powerful in balancing hormones, but as far as smoothing these lines, it is very powerful. Some folks do use castor oil for their hair. They actually put it in their hair. I've never done that. I have put it on my eyelids. I had some on my fingers and I tried it, right, and I just put some on. It can help dry eyes. If you have dry eyes, you can put it right on your eyelids. Some people will actually dilute it, and I don't know the proportion for dilution on that, but some people dilute it and put the drops directly in their eye to help with irritation and dry eyes. Again, I've never done that. Castor oil is a fantastic oil to use for arthritis, particularly if you mix that with some herbs that are good for arthritis. So that's a good remedy right there. Okay, again, I mentioned earlier it's a good carrier oil to take other substances into the body. If I have time, I'm going to try to prepare a talk on another substance that's a good carrier to take things into the body, and that's DMSO. If I have time to do that talk before we leave, I will. If not, then maybe we can catch that one next summer. Okay, some of you probably have heard about the castor oil pack. And so the castor oil pack actually kind of cherry picks all of these benefits that castor oil itself has and puts them down all together into one remedy. So you're getting all this fantastic benefit in one treatment. When you make a castor oil pack, and these are different samples, excuse me, I had one more and I couldn't find it. This one is really not my favorite one because I find that the straps going around me are a little bit uncomfortable. I'm a small person, and that may be why. Someone who is a little bit bigger and has a little bit more body to put these on, it may not be a problem. But for me, wrapping the straps around my body and trying to sleep, because you want to use the castor oil pack at night, the straps bother me. And so the other one that I have has thin straps that you bring around and tie. I like that one better. When I make a pack, let's just say that this is dry. It's never had oil on it. That's not the case because I have put oil on it before. For the first time that I'm going to use this, I'm going to put on a pack this size at least 2 tablespoons of oil. Okay? I'm not going to saturate the whole pad. You don't want to do that. That's way too much castor oil. Mercy. But you can also use these. You know what these are. These are like the underpads. Long nose, just taking care of patients and stuff. You can take these and cut a section, bind up the edges, and you can just use this. You can use a piece of cotton flannel. Don't use itchy wool. I did that once, and it was so irritating and annoying and itchy that it was not pleasant. So let me just give you an idea. For a pack this size, maybe about that much oil, okay? That's probably about 1.5 tablespoons. On a pack this size, I would probably put more like 3 tablespoons. This size pack is going to be for a larger person, actually. But I can use it because you want to cover a large area, because the liver, there's like dermatomes. Has anybody ever seen shingles? Have you ever seen shingles? How it comes around and it follows certain lines where the nerves are? These are dermatomes, and whenever we put the pack on, we want to cover all that area, okay? So with a pack this size, you're going to want to put more. But you see how that now is saturated into that, and I can just put that right over my pelvic region. I could put it on my breast if I had fibrocystic breast disease. I could put it over my liver. It's big enough. to put over my liver and still get some benefit, okay? If you have even a sore knee, you could put this on a sore knee and wrap it up. A lot of people recommend putting your castor oil on a cloth and then wrapping saran wrap around your body. Don't do that. We're going to talk about why in just a minute. Okay, let's get back on track here. When you put a castor oil pack on, just the weight of the pack when you're wearing it at night, when you breathe, is going to create a mild pumping action, and that's going to help to move your lymph. Our lymph does not have a pump, and so that mild action of you breathing with that pack on, it's very soothing. It increases oxytocin production. Oxytocin is one of the hormones that's produced when a woman goes in labor or when she breastfeeds, but it's a hormone that promotes bonding and helps you just to feel very peaceful and relaxed. And so this castor oil pack actually helps to shift you from, who's heard of fight or flight? What's fight or flight? Who knows what fight or flight is?
Fireflies?
Fight or
What's that?
Firefly?
Fight or flight.
Oh,
Fight and flight.
What happens if you're walking down I mean, we're on the east side of the river, but if we were on the west side, we're walking over in Medora and we walked up on a rattlesnake, what are we typically going to do? We're going to jump back in a hurry. That's fight or flight. You either are going to fight to protect your life, or you're going to take off and get out of Dodge. That's fight or flight. That's what we call sympathetic dominance, okay? That's not a good place to be, because when you're in fight, that stress mode, you can't detox, you can't relax. When you wear the castor oil pack, it helps to shift you into parasympathetic, or what's called rest and digest. So there's either fight or flight or rest and digest. Most of us are so stressed out these days that we just about live in this fight or flight. You know, we're all wound up and just go, 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 go all the time. So it's very relaxing to wear the castor oil pack. It helps to shift you out of that fight or flight into a more relaxed state.
Can you put it
Okay.
on and wear it in the daytime?
What's that?
Can you use it in the daytime or mostly
You can use the castor oil pack in the daytime, and I have, because it tends to keep me awake at night just because of the uncomfortableness of it. I have yet to, there's one that I want to purchase, but I have yet to find one that's super comfortable, okay? I have a friend that makes these, and the smaller one, which I couldn't find, is the most comfortable one. The rationale for wearing it at night, though, is because it's at night. I think it's the hours of 1 to 3, if I'm not mistaken, that the liver does its detoxifying, its house cleaning, so to speak. And so if you're wearing the castor oil pack at night, it really is supportive of the liver during that time frame. So that's why it's really ideal to wear it at night. And while we're on that topic, I can go ahead and mention that to really achieve beneficial effect, you need to wear it at least an hour. But ideally, overnight is the best to really achieve the full benefit. So as you may know, your skin is the largest organ of detoxification, and it isn't necessary to heat up the pack. In fact, some of the research that I saw suggested that putting a heating pack over the castor oil pack can actually reduce the body's detoxification. Your body will heat it up as hot as it needs to be. Okay? Again, the pack affects our lymphatics, which helps to promote lymphatic drainage, promotes liver detoxification, some of this stuff we've already talked about. It balances the bowels, so if somebody tends toward constipation, it can help to move things. If somebody tends towards diarrhea, it can help to calm things. Now, sometimes when people first start doing castor oil packs, it can actually cause somebody to have a little bit of diarrhea, even using it externally. I believe that the reason that happens is because it helps to increase the detoxing in the liver itself. Okay? This was a very interesting research paper that I read. It said that castor oil packs not only help with complete bowel emptying and the constipation, but also help people not to feel like they've got a strain to pass their stool. All right, what to look for in a castor oil? We talked a little bit about this a few minutes ago. Of course, you want organic. You want extra virgin cold pressed, the first pressing. It should have a mild smell, as you saw in the bowl that I passed around. It should be almost clear. Okay? This is the highest in antioxidants. This oil is the one that's most therapeutic. Now, a lot of people will go to Walmart or whatever, and they'll grab a plastic bottle of castor oil. If you do that, take it straight home and put it in the garbage, in my opinion, because it's full of whatever plastics are in that container, because it's that powerful to pull things into itself. So you really want to buy it in a glass container. This one, I don't remember the name brand that I bought, because I bought a huge bottle and I just poured some up into a smaller one to bring with me up here. So I don't remember the name brand, but you can find them in glass bottles on Amazon. One brand name is called Queen of the Thrones, but there are other brand names that have similar qualities that are a little bit cheaper. That Queen of the Thrones is one of the very best. Okay, how long to wear it? I covered that already. The softness of a cloth, if you use like a really soft organic cotton flannel, just the softness of that pack and the weight of it on your body not only is going to shift you over into that rest and digest, it stimulates the vagus nerve and helps to really, really calm the body down and kind of reset things. Some of this I've already talked about. Okay? A good practice is when you get up in the morning, do your dry brushing, take a dry, stiff bristle brush, and brush upward on your arms, upward on your legs toward the heart. That helps to pull the lymphatic, the lymph fluid up towards the heart so that it creates that pumping effect. And then when you do that castor oil pack at night, it really helps to circulate the lymphatic fluids. A lot of people get toxic and sick because their lymphatic fluid is stagnant and they're not getting rid of their waste like they need to. Now, with these, the cloth-made castor oil packs, some people suggest that you just use them for 2 or 3 months, and then when they start to smell, throw it away. You don't have to wash it after every use. These you can throw away, but you can even reuse this. This could be used for weeks. Just add about a tablespoon of oil each time. It's going to get a little saturated, but a lot of that oil is going to go into your body too. So if to wash it, I don't recommend really the washing machine because that oil could get in your other clothes and stuff when you wash it later. But you can wash it in a bucket by hand. Some people actually put it in the dishwasher and wash it in the dishwasher. I don't use a dishwasher, so I would just use a bucket. Okay.
Excuse me.
Yes.
So you're saying that wrap, you just put it directly on that wrap then, is that correct?
Say that again.
You're going to put the oil directly on that wrap?
You're going to put the oil right on here. It's
Okay.
very soft on this side, very soft. And you just put the oil right on this and then right on your skin. Once it has a chance to kind of, you can't put it on and then pick it up right away. All the oil's going to just run off. It has to have a few minutes to kind of soak in. And then when you put it on to your body, the oil is directly touching your skin.
Beautiful.
You can just smear the castor oil right onto you, but you lose the benefit of that soft cloth and the weight and the lymphatic movement.
So if you're using the other pad, how would you wrap
Attach
that
it.
on? Yeah.
Yeah, I would use an ace wrap. I would just use an ace wrap. Because
Okay.
if you use, again, a lot of people like to use saran wrap, but if that oil comes in contact with the saran wrap, it's gonna pull the toxins from the plastic and put them right in your body.
Whoops.
Yeah, so please, you know,
Okay.
use an ace wrap and then just wear an old t-shirt or something. Ideally, these packs that are designed, and I'm gonna show you a picture, because I couldn't find mine, I took some screenshots from a video that I did with a friend of mine who makes these. This would be nothing for our seamstresses in here to make, nothing. You guys can knock one out and.
You say one side of it is real soft.
Yes.
What's the other side? Does that have
It's-
something
I-
to keep
I don't
the
know
oil
what-
from coming through?
It looks almost like a nylon, what's that stuff they make real heavy, like men's hunting coats? That's almost what it looks like.
Ripstop is probably what it is.
Yeah, it could be some kind of rips, but it's waterproof. There's some type of waterproof
Yeah.
barrier
That's
in
what we
here.
made that window cover for.
What's that?
What we made, I can't remember what it's called. We got it at Max's, it was a really thick, but we made a window shield for a four-wheeler.
The one that was on a trailer going down the road, wouldn't get plastered. with
Oh,
bugs,
okay,
so.
okay, yeah,
know-
like they call them a car broth to go in the
Yeah.
front, yeah.
If you don't,
So, this is really nice, to use in the sense that it's not gonna make a mess out of your bed sheets. You know, it's gonna contain the oil, it's waterproof, it's secure, it's not gonna slip and fall off. I just find the straps, because they're not soft and they're kinda itchy going around my back. You know, it has to go next to your skin because you've gotta have the pack touching you. I suppose you could cut the front out of a t-shirt and leave the back so the straps didn't touch you if you're sensitive or whatever. I mean, you can get creative, you can do a lot of stuff.
You could
When you wanna-
make ties and take that stuff off and make ties to,
And that's what I'm gonna show you in just a minute, the other pack that this same lady makes, that it's a much more comfortable pack. Okay. I'm gonna say this again, I know I've already said it, but pregnant ladies should avoid using castor oil packs. I just wanna put that out there. I'm sure you guys know what a sty is on the eyelid. You can smear castor oil right on the eyelid and it really helps. It's especially if you put some type of herb in it that's drawing or antibacterial. Again, the oil is antibacterial itself. So, okay, whenever you're using the pack, again, the first time you're gonna put, for a pack this size, you might want a little bit more than 2 tablespoons, but 2 tablespoons is a good start. And then each time that you use it, like tomorrow night, if I'm gonna get ready to put it on, I'm gonna add another tablespoon of fresh oil, because some of that is gonna have absorbed into my body and I need more oil. So each time you use it, you add just a little bit more oil, maybe a tablespoon or so. Some of the research that I read suggested that it's not a good idea. For instance, if you're doing castor oil pack over the liver, don't use that same pack over the uterus for a woman, or the knee, or what have you. Have a different pack for each area of the body. I don't fully understand that. I have some thoughts, but because I don't fully understand it, I'm not going to go into that. You don't want to use the castor oil pack on open skin, or I wouldn't even use it necessarily on a surgical site, the pack. Although I probably, if it were me, would put the oil right on the incision. That's me. So, again, avoid abdominally during pregnancy. I keep saying that. So, now, Dalton is a measurement. Now, anything under 500 Daltons can penetrate the skin. And castor oil is about half that. It's 256 Daltons. So it's very small and it can easily penetrate through the skin. You can use castor oil on the bottoms of your feet. The bottoms of the feet are a very good place to do natural remedies. Okay, you can put it on the bottom of the feet.
could you do castor oil with cayenne? on the bottom of your feet?
You probably could. You could put a lot of different stuff with it, but be prepared because whatever you put it with, it's going to augment the effect of it. So you might be hot footing it wherever you're headed. So, okay, this is the link for the video that I did with the gal in Alabama who makes the pads. That's her email address, drylandhealth.com. Her name is Maria, and that's her email address if you want to get any of her packs. And this is a picture of the more comfortable pack. You can see her holding up. That is the side that goes next to the skin, and the blue side is the waterproof side. Again, it's whatever they use in, these are the disposable hospital pads, but they have hospital pads that they wash. These softer castor oil packs that she makes are made out of material like the cloth under pads from the hospital, and then she just sews these elastic ties on them. And then you can see the picture here of me holding up. That is a much more comfortable pack. I think I have one here, but I couldn't find it. So anyway, that's it on the castor oil and castor oil packs. Would anybody? All right. Any questions or other comments? Yes.
Well, because I've used it, I had tennis elbow really bad, and so many things I was trying to alleviate it, and I couldn't find anything, and we decided to do castor oil packs, and it was just a few days, and it was gone. So then Dana, because I do have a sty, I think that's maybe why she mentioned it, I only rubbed it on there maybe 4 or 5 days, and it's almost completely gone, the sty in my eye.
It's a very powerful and probably underutilized remedy. But again, be sure that you get it in a glass bottle. And when you get that extra virgin, cold pressed, hexane free, chemical free bottle, I'm not going to say it never expires, but it has a very stable, long shelf life. So if we're looking at it from a preparedness standpoint, this is a good thing to have on your medicine shelf, okay? Because it's going to last a little bit longer. It's not going to go rancid like other oils.
Where would you recommend getting it from?
I got mine off of Amazon,
Okay.
I think.
And is that the Queen of the Thrones? Or
Mine was not Queen of the Thrones, although that she has a bundle where you can buy the really nice pack like this one I showed you the picture of, and a big, I think it's a quart or liter of castor oil. And one of her bundles even has a dry brush. Dry brushing and castor oil packs go together like hand in glove. And so you can get Queen of the Thrones, but the brand that I got was just a little bit cheaper, but it had the same characteristics. Hexane free, organic, cold pressed, extra virgin, And you can see by what you sampled there that it's almost clear, there's really no odor, and that's what you're looking for. If your castor oil stinks, throw it away. It's full of toxins. Okay.
You mentioned a dry brush. What is a dry brush?
The dry brush, I mentioned a little bit about it. It's just a really stiff bristle brush. You can get it with a long handle to make it easier, to do your legs and stuff. But you can get a handheld. Some people kind of use a loofah sponge for the same thing, but I prefer the dry brush. I feel like the bristles kind of snapping over the skin gives a more pleasant treatment and maybe more beneficial as well. But that dry brush, whenever you do that upward motion, you want to go from the farthest out towards the heart. When you do that, it really pushes that lymphatic fluid towards the heart and helps to circulate that fluid so that it can be detoxified and keep fresh and get rid of the poisons from your body. One of the things that I failed in striving to recover from Rocky Mountain spotted fever and mold toxicity and all was I didn't address my lymphatic flow like I should have. And when I went down to Arizona to Dr. John St. Rose, I was locked. My lymphatics were just plugged up. So once he got that moving and stuff, I really could tell a difference. So,
You
any
can
other
put,
questions?
You
Yes.
can put a drop of castor oil in your belly button before you go to bed at night.
A drop of it in my belly button, it
Yeah.
wouldn't hurt. Do you do that?
I have been doing it, yes.
Okay.
Sleep very well.
Okay, well, that's a good close proximity to the liver, so it would stand to reason to me that it would be good.
Doesn't your belly button have a lot of most of the nerves are there?
I don't know, it seems
That's
reasonable.
what I read one time, that since that's your connector from your mother,
Yeah,
so that's where all your nerves are, so it'll penetrate all the nerves.
interesting, I might try that. Where's that leftover? We can all stick some in our belly button before we leave.
You know, you don't have to have these things either. When I did my arm, it was just a rag because we didn't have none of this stuff. This just makes it cleaner.
Yeah.
But anytime you do any detoxing, I always remind my wife, take binders. Because if you detox, it's flowing through the body and
Yeah.
you want to
Make sure
capture
you-
it, bind
make sure
it so
your
you
bowels
can,
are open.
Take what?
binders,
Well, we call
What-
them binders, but
charcoal or,
activated charcoal is the most common binder. There are other things, and what he means by a binder is when your liver releases toxins, it typically dumps them it's going to dump them either into the colon or into the blood, and that's going to be filtered out through the kidneys.
or your lymphatics.
Yeah. So if you detox and your liver dumps a bunch of toxins into the colon, particularly if your bowels are not moving well. I know I start talking about bowels and I get this glazed look on people because they're like, that's a little too much information. But you know, if you're not getting your poison out, you're going to be sick. You're really going to be sick. Your bowels need to be moving. The definition, by the way, of constipation is having one bowel moving a day. You're constipated if you're only having one bowel moving a day. Every time you eat, you should poop. So that's from Dr. John Harvey Kellogg, who wrote the book on colon hygiene. So when you take these binders, when you detox, like even if you do the castor oil pack or something, it is good to take a little charcoal because that goes into the colon, helps to grab those toxins and bind them so they're passed out in the stool instead of reabsorbed into the body. So that's what he's talking about taking binders, and that is a good practice when you're detoxing especially. Okay, if there's no other questions, then we're gonna wrap it up.
I have a question on that with the activated charcoal. Then do you just like eat it or what?
Drink it,
Yeah, you can
Make a
just
tea
eat
out of it or something, or
just mix it in water.
just
mix
it'll
it up
dissolve and that's just the way it goes. Because I actually knew enough to buy some. I've never used it because I knew it was going to be great for me, right? But I've got minutes and times, and I knew that was something that we needed to have in our closet. But I've never known what to do with it.
Well-
Other than John went to the Solomon Islands and he had some with him to take care of anything that was going to be poisonous to his system. But other than that, I didn't know
Yeah.
how to handle it. So
Kellen, did you guys miss the class on charcoal? Were they here when you did the? Yeah.
I must have it in my notes.
Yeah. Well, you can. Charcoal slurry water is fantastic. You can give it to children. In fact, we give it to children in a baby bottle that have jaundice, and it helps to clear up jaundice. Just let them drink that. So you just mix the charcoal in, let the charcoal settle, and in the water that has little black flakes floating in it, strain that off and give it pour that off into a baby bottle and give it to the baby. But for adults, you can stir it up and just drink the black stuff and all. Now, it's going to make your stool black, so don't freak out when it comes out and think you're bleeding up high. It's going to turn your stool, but it can also constipate. So sometimes when people take charcoal, they need to take something to help their bowels move because the charcoal can be a little bit constipating. We carry it in powder on our store, and we also carry it in capsules. You can get it in tablets, but I learned a really fantastic way to make charcoal. When I was in Arizona, I'd never done this, but the lady that taught the class on that, she took charcoal powder, and I think it was equal parts psyllium husk powder,
Ooh.
mixed it together with water, and it made this gel. I mean, and she rolled it out into just a sheet. And ready-made charcoal poultice, throw the thing in the freezer, in the fridge, or whatever, eat it. You know, you can eat that. And with the psyllium husk
Wow.
powder, that's gonna help you not to get plugged up.
So you would mix the charcoal equal parts with psyllium and then lay it like on wax paper and freeze it?
Yeah, psyllium husk
Put it in a
powder.
plastic bag. Put it in a, I've seen them do it where they put it in a plastic bag and just,
Yeah, you can
Work
just
it in
put a
yes.
big spoon in a plastic bag and then
Yeah.
just smash it down in the bag and put it in the fridge or freezer. Yeah, and it's ready-made poultice. You just take it out, slap it on. It's not messy. It works great. You just
That'd be a lot better.
wrap it on with an ace wrap or whatever. My ace wraps are really rough looking. They're all stained and black stains and oil stains, but it's all right. They still work. Okay, anything else?
Okay, so like for me, if I was gonna make that castor oil poultice for my back, I could just use like what blue pad and just put some right down the center, and then I could lay the pad in the bed and just lay right on it and
That's
sleep
right.
right on, because I
That's
sleep
right.
on my back, so.
Yes, yeah, that's a way you could do it yourself. And your body, 98.6, it's gonna heat that oil up, and that's hot enough.
Okay.
So that's a good idea. So if you're by yourself and you need it, like if you have a boil in your back or something, you can't reach it, make the pack, like he said, and just lay down on it. Or suspend it from a chair or somehow pin it and then lean back and whatever. I mean, there's all kinds of creative ways to accomplish what we need to. And when you're hurting and you need relief, you'll come up with some pretty
Ingenious thing.
interesting, interventions. All right, that's it for tonight. So